Red moonlight is turning people into bloodthirsty werewolves. The movie begins by revealing a catastrophic event that took place a year ago. When the supermoon appeared, it caused an unimaginable disaster. Millions of people were transformed into crazed, mutated beings known as werewolves, throwing the world into chaos. Now, the supermoon is set to reappear, and humanity is bracing for the worst. The strange mutation occurs only when people are exposed to the supermoon's light. This phenomenon has baffled scientists, leaving the world desperate for solutions. A team of brilliant researchers steps up to tackle the crisis. The team includes Dr. Arda, the lead scientist, and her colleagues, Dr. Wesley, Dr. Amy, Dr. Ivan, and Dr. Vaski. In a televised address to the nation, Dr. Arda explains the urgency of the situation. She warns that the supermoon is about to rise again and emphasizes the need for everyone to stay safe. However, the cause of the mutation remains a mystery. When reporters question another scientist, Dr. Blind, about the mutation's origins, he dodges the inquiry, leaving the public in suspense. Despite the uncertainty, the team has developed a potential solution: a sprayable substance called moonscreen. Dr. Arda announces that this protective spray will be tested during the upcoming supermoon. 4 volunteers have agreed to participate in the test, including Amy's boyfriend, Miles. Whether moonscreen works or not will be revealed under the moonlight. The scene shifts to Dr. Wesley, who is preparing his home for the night. Wesley lives with his sister-in-law, Lucy, and his young niece, Emma. The family has been through a lot. Wesley's brother, a fellow soldier, tragically died during last year's massacre. After leaving the army, Wesley dedicated himself to both protecting his family and helping humanity survive the supermoon's terror. Wesley has turned his house into a fortress. He installs traps, electrifies the gate, and sets up surveillance cameras. To ensure Lucy and Emma's safety, he goes over the emergency rules. Never open the door for anyone, and call him immediately if there's trouble. Lucy's neighbor, Reagan, stops by with cookies, and Lucy gives her a spare battery and pepper spray in return. Another neighbor, Cody, is seen practicing his shooting skills, but Wesley warns him about the risks of stray bullets. As night falls, the city prepares for lockdown. Those without homes are sent to shelters, and the streets become eerily quiet. Meanwhile, the scientists gear up for the test. To avoid direct exposure to the moonlight, they wear protective suits. The volunteers are placed in separate cages, and moonscreen is applied to their skin. Despite one volunteer's last-minute panic, the test proceeds as the dome over the facility opens, bathing the volunteers in moonlight. To everyone's relief, the spray seems effective. The volunteers show no signs of mutation, and the team celebrates this apparent success. Blood samples are taken for further study, and Dr. Arda oversees the analysis. But as the night progresses, trouble begins to brew. Reagan, back in her home, hears strange noises. Fear grips her as she senses an intruder, but before she can act, the danger escalates. Simultaneously, at the lab, the volunteers start exhibiting violent reactions. The moonscreen's protection only lasts for an hour, and the mutation takes hold. Panic ensues as mutated beings, now fully werewolves, wreak havoc in the lab. The dome's mechanism fails, leaving it unable to close, and the creatures escape. Chaos erupts as scientists and guards attempt to flee. Dr. Arda, Dr. Ivan, and Dr. Wesley run together, but Arda's protective suit tears, exposing her to moonlight. She transforms into a werewolf, attacking Ivan and fatally wounding him before being shot by a guard. Wesley and the others try to regroup. Dr. Amy, who had been working in another part of the lab, realizes something is terribly wrong when she hears alarms. As she steps out, a body crashes through the glass, narrowly missing her. She joins Wesley and Ivan, but their escape is hindered by a werewolf's attack. Ivan succumbs to his injuries, and Amy becomes increasingly frantic. Meanwhile, back at Wesley's neighborhood, Cody notices a wolf-like creature perched on a tree. Realizing the danger, he shoots it, but the noise attracts more werewolves. One breaks into Cody's house, exposing him to moonlight through a damaged wall. Cody transforms and, now a werewolf, attacks his neighbors. He targets Lucy and Emma, but Lucy fights back using the pepper spray Wesley gave her. She fortifies the house, desperately trying to keep her niece safe. At the lab, Wesley and Amy decide to use moon screen for temporary protection, even if it lasts only an hour. They manage to evade the werewolves and leave in Wesley's car. On the way, Wesley calls Lucy to check on her and Emma. Lucy shares her fears about the escalating situation and mentions hearing gunfire. Wesley reassures her, promising to return soon. Reagan appears at Lucy's gate, crying for help. She says a wolf has killed her mother and is now chasing her. Lucy debates opening the door, but Wesley warns her against it. Before Lucy can act, Cody, now a werewolf, drags Reagan away. Lucy is devastated, feeling helpless as the horror unfolds. Wesley and Amy face their own struggles. Their car crashes, forcing them to continue on foot. Meanwhile, a mob wreaks havoc in the area. The scene is terrifying, as some members of the mob attempt to kill others, while others drag lifeless bodies around. Amidst the mayhem, Wesley and Amy, our protagonists, find themselves hiding under a car to avoid being detected. The situation grows even more tense when a wolf approaches them. The animal comes alarmingly close, but surprisingly, it neither sees nor smells them. After a few tense moments, the wolf walks away, and they narrowly escape. Meanwhile, Cody, one of the wolves, washes his eyes with water, preparing himself for more action. He lets out a bone-chilling howl that echoes through the air, sending shivers down Amy's spine. At the same time, the alarm set by a cop rings, indicating that the special spray they've been using to protect themselves has worn off. Realizing the danger they're in, Wesley and Amy quickly leave the road and find refuge in a shelter. However, the shelter is occupied by another group of people who immediately view them as a threat. These survivors think Wesley and Amy are infected and prepare to attack. Desperately, the two explain they are not dangerous. They reveal they are scientists trying to find a way home and request directions to a nearby tunnel. Their leader, understanding their plight, agrees to help and escorts them to the tunnel entrance. Inside the tunnel, Wesley and Amy make their way to a gate, but their journey is far from safe. Out of nowhere, a wolf attacks them, breaking the gate and leaping directly at Wesley. Acting quickly, Wesley grabs a rod from the gate and uses it to fend off the wolf, ultimately killing it. Though rattled, they decide to use the spray again to protect themselves. Unfortunately, the spray requires processing, and for that, they need a freezer. Determined, they head to a nearby store. Upon entering, the security alarm blares, attracting unwanted attention. Amy swiftly disables the alarm, while Wesley places the solution in the freezer to prepare the spray. Meanwhile, Cody is still on the prowl, trying to breach the house where Lucy and Emma, Wesley brothers' wife and daughter, are hiding. Cleverly, Cody begins destroying the cameras set up around the house, leaving Lucy unable to monitor his movements. Back at the store, Wesley senses someone else is inside. To his horror, he discovers a woman holding a child, both partially mutated into wolf-like creatures due to the supermoon. The woman sees Wesley and attacks him. Not wanting to harm her, Wesley tries to fend her off without resorting to violence. Amy, however, uses an electric shock to subdue both Wesley and the woman. Though Wesley feels sorry for the mutated mother and child, he knows their priority is survival. With the solution ready, they quickly leave. Elsewhere, Lucy, armed with a shotgun, braces herself for Cody's relentless attempts to break into the house. The gate is electrified, but Cody cunningly cuts off power by dropping the transformer, causing a blackout. With the lights out, Lucy and Emma are plunged into darkness, heightening their fear. Cody finally breaks through the gate, but gets caught in a trap set by Wesley. On the road, Wesley and Amy encounter a group of heavily armed survivors engaged in a fierce battle with the mob. Amy asks Wesley who these people are, but he has no idea. Before they can approach, the mob begins overpowering the armed group. A wolf suddenly leaps at one of the survivors, ripping off his face along with his helmet. Another wolf pounces on a man with a machine gun, killing him instantly. With the group decimated, Wesley and Amy are left vulnerable in the chaos. Out of ammunition and options, Amy devises a bold plan. She will distract the mob while Wesley retrieves the machine gun. She boldly steps into view, taunting the wolves and drawing their attention. As the wolves approach, Wesley seizes the opportunity to grab the weapon and take aim. The tide turns as Wesley eliminates the remaining wolves, forcing the rest to flee. With the area cleared, Wesley and Amy find a car and prepare to escape. But just as they begin driving away, a werewolf attacks, snatching Amy from the vehicle. Helpless, Wesley watches as she's dragged away. The devastating loss leaves him with only one goal: to save his family at any cost. Meanwhile, back at the house, the situation grows more desperate. The broken gate allows more wolves to infiltrate the property. Lucy and Emma try to defend themselves as the wolves climb ropes to reach the upper floors. Lucy fires her shotgun wildly, but the wolves prove resilient. Worse, the stray shots damage parts of the house, allowing moonlight to seep through the holes. Now, Lucy must not only fight the wolves, but also avoid the moonlight, which could cause a dangerous mutation. A wolf eventually breaches the house, forcing Lucy and Emma to flee and hide in the shadows. Wesley, still determined to save his family, arrives outside. He drives through the mob, crushing wolves in his path. But Cody proves too agile, dodging the car and launching a direct attack. In a final, daring move, Wesley manages to crash the car into Cody, pinning him down temporarily. Inside the house, a wolf corners Lucy and Emma, pinning them to the wall. Lucy fights back with a knife, but is overpowered and thrown aside. The wolf turns its attention to Emma, but Lucy grabs an axe and strikes it in the head, killing it. As the immediate threat subsides, Wesley bursts in, reuniting with his family. But their relief is short-lived as Cody reappears injured but alive. With no bullets left, Wesley realizes there's only one way to defeat Cody: by becoming like him. He bids Lucy and Emma an emotional farewell, steps outside and allows the moonlight to transform him into a wolf. Fully mutated, Wesley confronts Cody in a brutal, final showdown. The two wolves engage in a fierce battle, but Wesley's determination gives him the upper hand. He ultimately decapitates Cody, ending the nightmare. However, the victory comes at a cost. Wesley is now a wolf, and Lucy knows he poses a danger to them. She hides Emma in a closet, instructing her to stay there until morning. If she doesn't return, Emma is to seek help at the nearest police station. Lucy prepares herself for a confrontation, loading the shotgun and steeling her resolve. When Wesley, Now fully wolf enters the house. Lucy tries to reach the man she once knew. She shows him a family photo, hoping to stir his humanity. But the beast doesn't recognize them and prepares to attack. Just as all hope seems lost, the alarm signals the arrival of sunrise. Sunlight floods the room, and Wesley transforms back into his human self. In the end, the family survives the ordeal, but the emotional scars remain. If you like this movie, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel.